Commonwealth will literally be the largest fund on the planet that's owned by the people.
Yo, yo, yo. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the launch party for the Alpha Fund. Do you guys like the music? Gets me pretty amped. Hey, John, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
Good. Your audio is good.
It is for once. I'm just watching this this fund. It looks like it's selling out quite rapidly. There's only like 170k left, and I presume a lot of people didn't know that they needed USDC and base. So I presume people are trying to bridge as quickly as they possibly can to try to get the last 150k.
Yeah, look, it's going to sell out pretty fast. You're diving in deep already into the topic, but yeah, let me just introduce to everybody so that we sort of get on the same page. John is, of course, talking about the Alpha Fund. The Alpha Fund from Commonwealth is the first paid fund on Commonwealth. So it's the first time you actually get to interact with the application in the way it was designed to be, where you load up USDC, like John says, on Base Network, and you can invest into an early stage venture fund brought to you by Commonwealth. And yeah, the oracles will kick into gear once this fund is filled. And then, you know, there'll be lots of hopefully amazing projects, tier one, like early stage unlaunched projects that will be referred onto the Commonwealth platform into the Alpha Fund. And you guys who've invested into the Alpha Fund are the ones who are going to take the decision on whether or not that project is for you, for the fund. It's a majority decision. So like if 51% of the investors say they want to go into that project after looking at it, then that project gets invested into. Everything is happening on chain. Everything's permissionless. Yeah, obviously that's the virtue of being a decentralized blockchain protocol, is that we can do all of this stuff in this way. It's never been done before. It's highly innovative, of course, but it's essentially taking venture capital and putting it all on chain and making it decentralized and permissionless. And the Alpha Fund is the first real opportunity for us to see this in action. So lots of questions from the community are going to come in during the day. Obviously, we're going to try and get through as many questions as possible. There's already quite a few questions that have come into the chat over the last couple of days, of course. But yeah, just a quick recap of everything with Commonwealth before we get started. Is there anybody else here? Or is it just you and me, John?
I think at the moment it's just you and I, which is quite nice, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm quite happy with that. Kyle will be along. I know Coach K said he was going to come a few minutes late, and then the rest of the team will drop in as we go through the hour. So yeah, it's been a busy week. Well, it's actually been a busy 2 years, if I'm telling the truth. But the last week has been especially busy. Commonwealth has given a white paper. So up until now, there's only been a light paper of Commonwealth, which was like a pretty basic overview of what the protocol and the application is designed and built to do. But the white paper is, of course, like a much deeper dive into all of the mechanics, right through from, you know, what are the USPs of the application, then under the hood, how does the protocol work? How does the whole investment process work? How is the token economy designed? And then a lot about the legal model. Legal decentralization is, of course, a huge piece of the whole.
Timmy, can I just interrupt you? There's quite a few people in the chat, like, and they're here and they've taken the time to join, and they're asking how to buy. And I think, you know, obviously for you and I, we in the weeds of this thing and we understand how to buy, but I definitely think there are people that, you know, are part of the community and they still don't understand how to buy. So it would be cool to get them in, you know, to this last little bit that's available, especially since they're here and they've taken the time to kind of join this AMA. So maybe just explain to them very quickly, if they want to get in right now, what they need to do.
Okay, cool. Then we pivot over to technical support. There's a Telegram chat as well, guys. So you can check in the Telegram chat. There's a bunch of really informed and educated people in there who are able to guide you through this process. But just for simplicity's sake, I'll take a quick deep dive into it as well. As you know, we're on Base Network, so make sure that your wallet is connected to Base and not ZK Sync or Ethereum or any other chain. So connect to Base.
Tony's actually made that quite user-friendly. So when you click login, it automatically moves you onto the Base network if you're connecting via MetaMask. So that
cool.
Pretty
straightforward. Some people are
straightforward.
using different wallets, but yeah, make sure you're on Base. It should happen automatically. You'll need to have Base USDC as well in your wallet in order to invest. If you don't have any native Base or native USDC in Base, then you can use a bridging network. John, did you use that whenever you invested?
Yeah, I just bridged across. I use something called dBridge. I mean, I'm not going to advise anyone what to use in case something goes wrong, but I do use a protocol called dBridge, and it's fairly user friendly, and it happens quite quickly. And then yeah, the whole process was very, very smooth. I for some reason couldn't invest in the early stage with my NFT. I don't know. Maybe I need to look into that. I think maybe I was connecting the wrong wallet or something. But as it opened at 3 o'clock South African time or 1 o'clock UTC, it was very, very seamless. It happened within seconds. So yeah, I just went through the whole thing now, and yeah, pretty excited to be a part of the first fund.
Nice. Welcome into the fund, John. That's awesome. We're getting Juliet joining us from New Tribe Capital. Hey, Juliet, I'll invite you in to speak just in a second. So we're just covering a few of the bases. If you're not able to, for some reason, connect, if you're not able to log in, make sure you have an account on Commonwealth. If you don't have an account, obviously, then you can't use the application. It should be easy to make an account, couple of clicks, email address, connect wallet, and then you are connected. Again, getting the USDC in there to make the investment is important. Cool. So
it's also quite important to make sure that you do have some Base ETH as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to process the transaction. Obviously, on Base, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's not like Ethereum. You can have like $5 worth of Base ETH, and that will last you for a month of transactions. So it's very, very different to normal ETH.
Cool. Thanks, John. Glad you're here. Good stuff, guys. So we were just explaining a little bit about the Alpha Fund. We're sort of deep diving in to try to help people who are logging in right now. You will, of course, see that there's not that much left. It's a $1 million fund. It's deliberately a smaller fund. The reason for that is, well, there's a few reasons, but essentially the Alpha Fund is very much along the lines of a proof of concept kind of fund. So it's a way for Commonwealth to showcase how the system operates, get the community, get the investors, get everyone kind of accustomed to the systems that we've just been describing now, and making sure everything works top notch, and also to start the investment process quite quickly. So what happens is, and this is quite a few questions that have come in from the community on like, how is the process working? Why can't I see already some of the projects that the fund has invested into? And that's a great question, because obviously the whole purpose of a fund is to invest into quality projects that can bring about future returns and bring profits. And the essentially the quality of the projects in the fund will influence the overall success of the fund. We know that. The reason you don't see any projects in this fund yet is because there is no capital yet to deploy into these projects. So very, very simply, it's a step-by-step process. Today, the fund has opened, well, actually yesterday, for NFT holders, the Genesis NFT holders of Commonwealth. They got a 24-hour grace period where they were able to invest into the fund first. It might not always be like this, folks, and it is one of the biggest topics at the moment in the community is, hey, is this fair? Because Commonwealth, of course, is pushing the messaging of 99%, not the 1%, and it's equal access, equal opportunity. Now, everybody has an equal opportunity to own a Genesis NFT. The earliest supporters of Commonwealth were people who bought the Genesis One NFTs, over 18 months ago. So that's a big statement of kind of conviction in what's been happening on Commonwealth, and a long time for people to have bought those NFTs and held those NFTs. Maybe they're staking them for wealth tokens. If you are, congratulations, because you've probably done quite well so far. And then the second Genesis NFT series came out, and that was also a moment where people could show more conviction and more support for the project. And if you invested into those, you got a chance to see the light paper, the website, the whole model, the whole concept. But still, you had conviction that Commonwealth was something that you felt was going to be a long-term success, and you bought those NFTs. Maybe you bought the NFTs on the secondary market. Since then, you would have paid a higher price, of course, than what they were minted for. But the whole point is that this is the earliest supporters of Commonwealth, and the major token holders of Commonwealth took a decision at the outset for this fund to give that grace period for investment for 24 hours to the Genesis NFT holders. But since it's a decentralized ownership of Commonwealth, it will be up to the community to decide long term if this mechanism is fit for purpose, if this is something that we want to continue with as Commonwealth. So that particular piece is something very important for us to kind of keep in mind as a community, decide whether or not this is what we want and how that mechanism should function. As it happens now, there's how much left in the fund, John?
There's 120K left.
So the $880,000 has already been purchased, and the people who have purchased that now own slices of this fund. There's only just over $100,000 left to purchase. Once that cap is reached, the Alpha Fund is essentially capitalized. It means that the capital is ready to deploy. And then what happens after that? Then our dear oracles are going to be invited to refer deal flow towards the fund. What that means is that people like John, people like Jack, hey Jack, how's it going? They are going to be invited to link Commonwealth, link the Alpha Fund to some of the best deals that they've been investing into in the recent months. And that is exactly what the oracles function is, their role within the whole Commonwealth system. And we're here today actually to start discussing some of those specifics, like, hey, like John, like tell us a couple of like the projects that you're most excited about that you think would be a great fit for the Alpha Fund. That type of discussion we're hoping to have here today. So we'll wait for a few more of the oracles to come, and then we'll get into the weeds on some of that stuff as well. Good. So
just something to add there, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
What's really cool about this mechanism and what Commonwealth is trying to change, well, one of the things they're trying to change is if we start investing into some really good projects, and hype builds around them, and people are talking about, let's just say, for example, we got into ZK Sync at a seed round, and it looks like it's going to launch at, maybe 30, 40, 50x from where seed round investors got into. Then there's also going to be secondary action happening on the NFT market, which has never been done before. So you might buy into $1 million fund, you might put in, I don't know, $500, $5,000, and then after a few months, you start seeing some of the projects the oracles and Commonwealth are bringing to the table, and people might be like, wow, I cannot believe that Commonwealth got access to layer 0 at seed round. And then you will start seeing the NFTs on the secondary market. The market will dictate what price they're going to be selling for, but you might see people exiting at 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x before anything even happens. So that's what's really exciting for me, is people aren't locked into the traditional 8-year fund. That's the way a lot of these funds are structured. You kind of hand over your money, you're locked in for 8 years, and you kind of trust the fund managers to do their job. What's cool here is you might invest into the Alpha Fund, and after 2 or 3 months, you start seeing some of the deal flow coming in. Some major hype starts happening in the Telegram chat, and the market will dictate what price each one of these slices are worth. And for me, that's the most exciting thing that's happening at Commonwealth at the moment.
And don't forget, John, the slice holders of the alpha fund are the ones who ultimately will take the decision on which projects are the ones to invest into. And when I say that, I have to be clear. You don't get to pick and choose per person. So if you're a slice holder, John, in this fund, you don't get to choose project A and not project B. The whole collective group of investors, the co-investors in the fund, will take a decision. And that decision is majority based. So based on the weighting of how much you own of the fund, say 51% of that fund total has decided to go into a project, then that project will get invested into by the fund, right? So that mechanic is really important for everyone to understand. It's not that you get to just pick as one investor, I get to pick some of the projects and not the others. The whole fund decides as a group collectively together, and it's a 51% majority that passes that vote. Cool. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Coach. We got some people here now. Hey, Jack. I want to welcome everyone in. You've heard from me. You've heard from John. How's everyone doing?
Very good. Surviving.
Yeah.
Good, man. Good.
Jack, are you back in LA or are you in Dubai?
Yeah. I actually just got back the day before yesterday, so it's still fairly jet lagged from the Dubai trip. But honestly, that worked to my favor for hopping on this call because it's a 6 a.m. call for me, so it worked out perfectly.
Well, thanks, dude, for pitching up at 6 a.m. That shows commitment. I hope in Dubai you were able to source some good deals for not just for Hashkey Capital, of course, where you work, but for Commonwealth as well. Same for you, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
I do have a couple projects that I think are like tier 1 projects that I'm trying to secure allocation for Commonwealth at this moment. So I'm happy to touch on what those projects do and which ones that I'm looking at. But yeah, I mean, nothing. The problem is nothing's guaranteed yet, right? Because these are projects that have like tier 1 investors investing in them. So I'm like fighting for allocation for Commonwealth, but I think things are looking good, and they're very, very high quality projects.
Love to hear that, Jack. Love to hear that. We're going to dive into that particular part of the topic in a few minutes. I do want to hear from you. I want to hear from Kyle. I want to hear from John. I want to hear from Coach. I want to hear of like what you guys are most excited about in terms of investments, and I do actually want to hear about specifically what they are and like what thematic they're in and why you're excited by them. But before we get there, I mean, there's an elephant in the room. The market has, let's say, definitely like cooled off a little bit since the last time we were here on the All Street Beat. We were discussing what this fund could look like. And from that discussion, we took away from that, you know, a generalist type fund looking at some of the hot narratives like AI, like BRC20, Bitcoin ecosystem, DePIN, real world assets, gaming. These were the types of narratives that were definitely like something to look out for the fund, but that the fund would be something kind of cross narrative. So more of a horizontal fund than a vertical specialized fund. So that's what the alpha fund is. It's really just looking for the alpha in this market, and some of those topics are definitely hot, and hopefully we can look into those today and hear some of the projects that are meeting those kind of meeting that mandate, meeting that scope. Before we get there though, I do want to point out that, you know, in that discussion we had together with All Street, with the community, with the oracles, people were saying valuations were, you know, on the top end as well. And, you know, that was a little bit off-putting as an investor. I do believe that with the market cooling off, and I want to hear from you, Kyle, and from Jack and from Coach and John, is there an opportunity in here in that with the market cooling off, do we get a chance as, you know, a community of VCs to push back on some of the higher valuations and bring a bit more of a sober reality to the investment landscape, I suppose, is what I'm asking. And, you know, any other comments on how we see the market playing out for the next couple of months? I just want to cover that off before we dive deeper in.
I'm not sure. I'm still seeing valuations coming in at like very high valuations, like bull market.
Of course. The market's only cooling off now, but like I'm talking about the next couple of weeks. Do we get a chance?
To be honest, I think there's a disconnect between there's a correlation, but still a disconnect between primary market, i.e. like venture market investments, and secondary market investments, like open market investments, right? And I think For example, like the primary market peak definitely precedes the peak of the secondaries market, right? Because the primary market peaks out in anticipation of a rise in the secondaries market. But also, I think the primary market has not gone down. I don't expect it to go down unless there's a general consensus that the bull market's over. But I think there is still a very strong consensus that the bull market has like barely begun, and that we're going to see a very, very strong pump this summer in particular. So I think primary market valuations are probably not going to go down until either we've come to a consensus that that's not going to happen, or until like later this summer / like maybe even Q4 of this year.
Okay. And are there still good deals out there, guys?
Yeah, but you're going to have to get in deals that are very high valuation. So typically that looks like either later stage stuff or things that you see as, you know, withstanding the test of time, right? Because there's basically like two investment strategies, like two like terms for investment strategies that investors are looking at in this cycle. And that's projects I can profit off of this cycle, or at least like get my investment back on this cycle, and B, projects that are, you know, going to survive the test of time. So the two projects that I'm bringing in, I think both of them are going to withstand the test of time, but one of them I actually do think we'll be able to get some profit off of, like potentially covering our principal in this market and still have like a massive amount of tokens left relative to our overall like purchase amount.
Cool. Makes sense. Coach, do you want to say hi? I don't know how your connection is there.
Yeah, it's all good. I just can't get on. My computer doesn't want me to have my camera on for some reason, but here's what it is. How you guys doing?
Your voice is distinct enough, although you're sounding a little bit worse for wear. Do you have a cold?
Sorry. No, I just ate, so.
Don't feel obliged to have your camera on. I think everyone is familiar with how you look. It's fine with your voice, Coach. Tell us what you're seeing out there, man.
I mean, like same as you guys, just high valuations, things that feel like they're a little bit inflated. They haven't really proven themselves yet. So I'm sitting there going like, is it really a good investment, or is it a great investment? Is it something for long term or short term? You know, I think everyone right now is like on the mindset of like, we're not going to be in a bull market forever. And even if this is just a sell off, like it's not going to have, you know, we're not going to be bullish for like 350 more days after this happens potentially. So we have to be kind of, you know, cautionary in terms of like how long are these vesting cycles, and is there an opportunity for us to de-risk our investments so we can actually help the projects in the next bull run? So I start thinking like that, like you're in a project and you can actually take some profit from that project, and it's a good one. You still have tokens as well. And then the bull market's like over, and then the bear market starts. You can actually build up enough capital to actually buy back those tokens at a much lower price. And so basically you can win on both cycles. You can win on this cycle, take a little profit, or at least break even. And you can put some of that money back in at the bottom and basically double dip and have like a much bigger bag for the next cycle. So there's definitely some different strategies I use personally. And I think like I'm looking at, you know, the DePIN narratives there, but it's getting a little bit too high. The AI narratives there, I would say like 98% of the stuff in AI is not really AI. It's just using ChatGPT. So it's really not their own LLM or anything. So I'm kind of like put off by that right now until I find something that actually feels brand new and exciting. And what I've noticed now, and I'm sure you guys have all, you know, gone through this, is like there's no originality left. It feels like there's like I've seen the same pitch on different chains, like different ways, but pretty much the same type of products. So I'm trying to find stuff that's like kind of solving a problem right now, because a lot of the stuff is just like a copy of like which one will actually do well. It's like trying to like buy into all the stock, all the FANG stocks. I mean, like, well, at least one of these are going to do well. So I feel like there's a little bit spray and pray feeling, and I'm trying to like really hone down, you know, with myself and my team, which projects actually excite us and actually make us want to tell all our friends about them. You know, I've had some good ones in the earlier part of the cycle, but right now, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels very redundant lately. I don't know if everyone else feels. Maybe that's a good question for everyone else, but it felt a little bit redundant. And I think that's kind of why we topped as well on the market, because there's just too much too fast. They kind of need a little bit of a fizzle off period, kind of come back to reality, get back to equilibrium. I feel like the market's kind of closer, maybe will bottom, at least the short-term bottom for now, because it's gone down so hard, so fast. I had like a 3 or 4 week plan for what the market did in like 3 or 4 days. So I think that, now we're getting a little oversold, and there's a lot of fear, which I kind of love. I buy into that kind of stuff. So, we're looking at that from a liquid perspective. From an illiquid perspective, I'm kind of getting the point where like if the market gets exciting again, I want my projects to all launch. I want them to get in while the iron's hot, and it's going to be right after this period. Potentially selling Mango. I was talking about this. Ren mocked me on it a little bit, but it seems to like maybe it should sell before Mango and then come back. It could be something like that this May where we actually get a recovery. But generally, Bitcoin's at a terrible Q3s because everyone goes on vacation, and this time we don't have COVID like we did last cycle, so people aren't stuck at home. And I feel like there's going to be a little bit more. Everyone made good money at the start of the cycle. Some people took profit. Most people did. Now they're going to maybe go on their holidays with their families, like most people will. And I think near the end of the summer, we'll really start to see the real big kickoff, the real bull that everyone's waiting for. So that's what I'm thinking. Everyone gets sad and says, "I wish I could have bought Bitcoin at 57 when it's 69 or like 74, right?" And then we hit those numbers, and they're like, "I'm never gonna buy Bitcoin at 57K. It's gonna go lower." I think a really good plan right now would be to have like a DCA strategy similar to the way I would do it in the bear market. It's like, okay, well, how much lower can it go? Here's some levels. Put some buy orders in and just kind of wait and be patient. Don't go into leverage and get wiped out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities still, I think, in this cycle.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Thanks, Coach. We'll circle back around. There's a couple of new faces coming in here, and old faces, but also new to the show. So I'm just going to make some introductions quickly. And Coach, thanks for that overview of the market. I think it's really useful. Those of you who know Coach knows that he's an early supporter of Commonwealth. He genuinely believed in getting for his community to have access to the same kind of like value creation that he's been privileged enough to have. And if you follow his channels, that's what he's all about. So like Coach has been following Commonwealth and supporting Commonwealth from day one. Thanks, Coach. And same with Didi as well, early supporter of Commonwealth, and welcome into the show. We haven't actually had you live on camera here, but it's great to have you here. And also Dusty as well, one of the newer kind of influencers and supporters of Commonwealth, but nonetheless really important figure in the crypto community, and also wants his community to have access to the same kind of value creation that he gets as well. So guys, we're just covering off a little bit on the market segment. I'm gonna ask Didi and Dusty how you see things playing out for the next bit, and we're going to spend just 2 minutes on this topic because I really want to deep dive into some of the investment opportunities and the projects that the oracles have been looking at recently. And then what I'd like from those of you like Didi and Coach and Dusty is to challenge a bit and provoke and ask questions around some of the projects that you're hearing. Do they sound interesting to you? Would you, as like a sort of like a retail investor, be excited by this? I think that's a good way to approach this segment. But first of all, Didi, say hi and tell us what you've been up to.
Hey guys, sorry I was in a little bit late. I just moved into a new house. My Wi-Fi is like Spanish shit. It's like terrible. So I don't know if my sound and everything is okay, but I hope it's doing a bit okay. But yeah, I'm doing fine, man. It's amazing. Love the life. It's amazing buying dip opportunity again today. I wake up very happy seeing Bitcoin below 60K. So it's an amazing moment to buy a little bit more Bitcoin.
There you go, from the horse's mouth. Didi, is that one of those fake backgrounds?
No, this is real. This is my bedroom in the new villa. It's like, I don't know if I can say this public, but this is the best view to have sex with your wife. This is like just amazing. It's like fucking amazing. It's like, the view from every angle from my bed is like sea view. So, and I love the sea view. So that's like, I love it.
I wish you just said it was
crypto, but it's real.
I wish you just said it was yes. It was a virtual background.
No, it's real, bro. It's real.
Awesome, dude. Well, you're living the good life and you're buying BTC at these levels. That's awesome. Dusty, say hi, man.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to finally make it in. Took a little bit of time, but it's all good. I'm not so sure. I don't have any cool background like that. It's just
still pretty cool. I like it. It's low key. Where are you based, Dusty? Or you don't have to give it away. It's fine.
No, it's fine. So I'm based in Dubai. so it's
Okay,
pretty safe. I
very
guess.
cool, very cool.
Fine
There's
to
a few overlaps there. How's the weather over there? No more crazy storms, right?
Matter of fact, I think tomorrow is going to start raining again. Actually, I don't think it's going to be too heavy, but tomorrow rain, which kind of
Oh, wow.
destroys everything. But let's see. Let's hope it's not too bad again.
Stay
That was
indoors.
craziness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Cool. So, Kyle, you haven't said too much yet. Is there anything you want to add so far? Otherwise, we're going to deep dive into some of the projects you guys have been looking at.
I just think that something that we didn't really talk about before, but I've noticed recently is like is this season seems to be like really heavily favored toward KOLs and the attention economy. So you know, we've always known that Commonwealth is creating a Wall Street bets kind of vibe, right? But I didn't really think about, and probably because I wasn't offered as much as I am these days, like these kind of KOL opportunities that come in so late into a project. Like, you know, oftentimes we're getting offers for crazy projects that's, you know, have a TGE in 2 to 4 weeks or something, maybe even next week. So kind of last minute, and getting kind of similar valuations to what they raised 3 years ago from Polychain and Sequoia or whatever, and more favorable vesting terms. And so I think that it's always been our plan to earn our place as Commonwealth on the cap table, but I think this could be very interesting, and I'm gonna be exploring this route with the projects that I talk to, and when I get an opportunity for KOL allocations, I'm gonna say, hey, like I got a decent audience, but you know, if you really want some exposure and some guerrilla marketing, then make sure you leave some space for Commonwealth as well.
Could you unpack that just a little bit more? It's such an important point. Like when you say Commonwealth as a KOL, like maybe that's a foreign concept, but I think there's something in there. Please, could you just elaborate?
Well, we had so in 2 weeks, our community was able to do, what was it, 1.6 million tasks or something like that, missions.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was in Dubai at Token 2049, I met Tim, the founder of Chirp, who's one of the projects in our free fund, and he was like so thankful. He said, man, like they got a really big boost in like everything changed after that Commonwealth, you know, the Commonwealth free fund initiative. So you know, I've heard similar things from other projects as well, that it gave them really big boosts and big exposure, and that's, I think, the power of guerrilla marketing versus any individual KOL. People are always going to be suspect about any of us that are shilling a project, you know, oh, they're getting paid, or oh, they've got big bags or whatever. But when you have, you know, thousands or tens of thousands of people, and we will have eventually millions of people maybe that are all aligned and want to see a project succeed that is invested in by Commonwealth, that's going to be the most powerful thing ever. And I have a feeling that deal flow will come very easy for us, where projects will really want us to be Commonwealth, to be on the cap table. And so yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, for maybe, I don't know if Tim, you want to explain more the concept of the alpha fund, or it's the way I look at it is kind of like a proof of concept, you know, and this is why we kept it quite small. It's, you know, you guys can see it's almost full already. What is it, $913,000 right now? So
yeah, it's at 9:30. I've been smashing my computer for the last 5 minutes because I've been trying to buy more, and then I just realized that it's capped at 20K. So I thought there was something wrong with the platform, but it was actually just capping.
I have 15K so far, but I'd like to close it off at the 20, but I figure I'd leave some room for some other people to come in. So but it's $1 million non-recyclable. So, you know, if we get, you know, $100,000 checks or something in the next 2 months or whatever, this is done, dusted, and we can go on to, you know, and we had a discussion about this recently, and we'll talk about it with you, the community, and with the oracles, but ideally this fund turns around quicker than most, right? And so so more specifically, let's see if we can get these KOL rounds, if we can get the more accelerated vesting schedules, the projects that are closer to launch, so we can see the results of how the flywheel from the economic model kicks in. You know, when we start seeing returns from projects, from investments, how that actually starts the flywheel. And I think that one of the things that people aren't used to in this space is observing what happens when you have like insanely good token economic models, where you've got, you know, like they're just not used to that, right? Like I don't know, name me a project, any of you guys, Dusty, Didi, Jack, Coach, that like actually have closed loop circular token economies where, you know, they're very valuable, they're generating a lot of revenue, but that revenue is not going back, being extracted out of the economic model, but kept within that token economy.
Tuka. Well, it's the truth. Where does the money go? It goes back into the project.
That's a good one. It's very new though. It hasn't. Yeah. Any others? Yeah, I think you're proving this point. It's not that many.
All of it, or just some of it? Like, because obviously projects are gonna have to pay people, so they need to make money too. But we're talking like everything's closed loop.
I would say profit.
So Paid Network are doing that as well.
Because like a lot of projects that I've worked on, we did like flowback models where profits go into the token, which obviously then keep the ecosystem moving in a circular fashion. That makes a lot of sense. You know, Gunzilla does that where it's pretty closed loop. Once you put the capital into the game to buy your assets, you don't get to take the token back out. You have to actually spend it, earn from unlocking the boxes, skins and stuff that you can then sell as an NFT, but you can't actually sell the token. That kind of, it's similar to that, especially with the validators, the only way to get it out. So, and then they buy back 30% of profit. So, you know, like that's probably you think of like of them.
So it's 30%, you know, and that's usually what you see. Like with Rollbit, you know, they did 10, 20, they've got 3 products that generate revenue, 10, 20, and 30% on each of those products respectively. And, you know, I think the ones that generate the most are the 10% and rolling back. So, you know, this is the way that I learned token economies. Like this is when I studied it, like the one, you know, like, I don't know how many people have actually done this before, but, you know, you're actually building, you're supposed to be building, if you're building something that's supposed to be decentralized, which is why we're supposed to be here, then you need to build an economy around, like we are building essentially, you know, nation states, right? Like, or like what does Balaji call them these days? Network states, right? And we're building virtual economies or nations. Essentially, we have governance, we've got taxation, we've got revenue, we've got workers, we've got you know, GDP, expenses, all these kind of things, and essentially the currency that makes Commonwealth go around is the wealth token, and so I just don't come across projects hardly ever that actually you know, like apply these models. They're usually some sort of hybrid centralized company with some sort of tokenized aspect, but oftentimes they could just as well off be you know, tokenized equity or whatever. So I just think I'm really excited for this the next 18 months or so, because I hope that we set standards moving forward. When people start, like, this will become a narrative when people can see the dashboard and see, okay, well, you know, you can go to like Dune Analytics, or hopefully Commonwealth has its own dashboard where you see the investments that have been made, maybe the current valuation of those investments, and then you can do and then all the calculation is done, you know, based on like the LPs of the fund, how much wealth tokens are they staking, what's their discount on carry fee, you know, how much of the carry fee is going to be applied if the fund does this multiple, you know, back into the buy pressure and, you know, like back into the economy. So you have like, so once it starts really producing and we start deploying, you know, millions and millions of dollars and we're in a bull run and we start seeing a 20, 30x all this money, and then you come back and, you know, we're getting on average 20% of that back into the economic model plus the community fund. And then this is all in a dashboard. People can see like programmatic nonstop buy pressure on the token, regardless of if retail's interested in buying it or not, which of course they will be, because if BlackRock pledged to buy $100 million a day of Bitcoin ETF, like you knew they were, and they guaranteed it for a year, like you're buying Bitcoin because you're going to front run them, right? Like you just know it's programmatic and it's priced, they're going to buy your bet, like they're buying it from you. So, I just think that's going to be really interesting. This is the thing I'm the most excited about.
That's awesome, Carl. I mean, it's a good bridge into also what the projects are that you're excited about, other than Commonwealth, like, because I think you just gave a 15-minute or a 10-minute overview of like how powerful Commonwealth's going to be. I assume that you're looking for similar kind of characteristics in projects that you're also investing in through Master Ventures, your investment firm. And I also want to pass that question on to the other guys who are actively investing. And also start to hear now, like, what is it that you're very excited about that you think would be a good fit for the Alpha Fund specifically?
I just want to go back to one thing Carl was saying just now about, the Chirp project in Dubai, because I met with Alex Davis, the founder of Maverick Finance, and he said to me that for a year and a half, he was trying to get traction on his Twitter, and he was trying to get people from the Web3 community to recognize his project. And then he said, I found Commonwealth, and all of a sudden I had this like really great community. They were commenting and they joined my page and they were looking at my website and they were sending advice. And he said it kind of changed like his whole outlook on the way to do marketing going forward in a Web3 project. So I completely agree with Carl. Like the founders are really, really enjoying this. And that was like a test phase. So I think when we start approaching the big tier 1 projects that are impossible to get a ticket into, we'll kind of always be able to get some kind of ticket with the army that we've created at Commonwealth.
Nice. John, while you have the mic, tell us a couple of projects that MetaVest has been looking at recently that you think, I mean, MetaVest is a specialized gaming investment company. So give us a couple of hotties that you think might be a good fit.
Yeah, one project that we're looking at is a project called Today the Game. It's guys that were involved with Sega and Activision early doors, and they've been building for the last 2.5 years. They've got a huge community already behind them. They've got, I think, 150 or 200,000 real users that have been testing the game. And basically, it's a game that's got AI built into the game. You can walk around this big world and you can kind of talk to AI people, and they get to kind of know you as an individual. So if you've got like a 9-year-old kid who goes and plays a game, after 6 months of playing, they'll know, what school you went to and what you do and what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. They were struggling to raise funds throughout the bear market, and then they got Big Brain and Sfermion to lead the round. They're now $10 million oversubscribed, and yeah, that's a project that I'm really trying to get Commonwealth a very small ticket into. Maybe we can get like a 50 or 100K ticket there for the Alpha Fund. But that's one I'm really, really excited about. The valuation is really low compared to some of the other projects out there.
And that's real AI, not the stuff GPT stuff that Coach was slating earlier, right?
No. You can go test it now. It's quite remarkable. Kyle had a couple of calls with them as well early doors, and he got to understand the product. So yeah, really excited about that. Metaverse was lucky enough to get a very small ticket, and I've been speaking to the founder on a daily basis to try to get Commonwealth a small piece of the pie.
Didi, Dusty, Coach, have you guys heard of Today the Game?
No, I don't think so.
Go check it out. You have? No?
Yeah, go check it out. You can go play around in the world. I mean, I don't want to shill any projects here. It doesn't like benefit us.
No. But if we're gonna introduce to the community like the potential deals, it is interesting to know like if it's hyped, if people have heard of it as well. So that's the only reason I'm asking. But what else, John?
There's a couple that I'm looking at. There's one called Soulstorm that isn't a gaming project, but I think it's very interesting what they're doing, and that was brought to my attention by what Rand was doing with Gummy, and Rand used that whole infrastructure to kind of build his coin around. So they're doing like all the staking, and they're doing all the rewards through Soulstorm. I got on a call with them. They had a very low valuation of 12 million FDV. I think there's like an easy 5x there on launch. And yeah, the vesting terms are very favorable as well. It's 10% TGE, and then you get your tokens over the first year. So also been speaking to them, but you know, that sort of project, I wouldn't be getting like a 50K ticket for the fund. It would be more, I'd be proposing like, you know, somewhere around a 10 or 20K ticket just to try and, you know, kick up the fund a bit. But yeah, Soulstorm looks very interesting. You can go there. If anyone's got an NFT project, you can go and you can launch it on Soulstorm. They raise $40,000 for you. They don't do more. The maximum the public can buy is 1 Sol at a time. And the way they protect the way they protect the public from getting rugged and these guys just running away from the money is they take $40,000 that they raise and they take half of it and put it immediately into LP, so they can't run away with it, and then they only give the founders the other $20,000 a week later. So I think it's a well-structured platform. They've thought it out. It's 2 Israeli guys that have been building out the tech for the last year. Ran has tried and tested them with Gummy, and they seem to be doing a good job. So yeah, that's another interesting one that I'm looking at.
Cool. Okay, so Soulstorm and Today are things that you're liking right now. Jack, you mentioned at the outset that you had a couple mainly real world asset plays, I think. Do you want to give us a little bit more insight? Just you know.
Yeah. So one's a real world asset play, and I'm still trying to negotiate carry for both of these, but I know the founders fairly well, so I'm confident, even if it's not going to be a huge amount. But one of them, I can tell you the name of. It's called Plume, Plume, and they're basically a RWA L2 that has effectively all the major RWA projects deploying onto them. So yeah, I would check it out. Plume, Plume. I think they're going to absolutely crush it. The main difference between them and like right now, there's a lot of RWA chains that have been popping up. The main difference between these guys and all the other RWA chains is honestly just like they're better at business development and marketing. Like they've got that down. So yeah, very, very, very confident in Plume. They're like in the success of Plume, trying to negotiate some allocation for us. The other one that I'm looking at, I can't say the name of just yet, but it's got, you know, I also know the founder of that one very well. They've got 3 tier 1 VCs currently in the round, including one of them that's leading. And like by tier 1, I mean like tier 1 among tier 1. Like these are like the best, some of the best VCs in the game. What they are is, I mean, it's like an AI data like deepen project where. So are you guys familiar with what like human labeling is, like data labeling? Yeah. So data labeling, for those who don't know, is basically like what Scale AI does in Web 2. And the way that works now is you basically have a bunch of people from like the Philippines or Vietnam in like a giant warehouse that's basically like the AI equivalent of a sweatshop. And you have them like all in one centralized location with somebody looking over their shoulder to ensure that when they're labeling data. So data labeling is like if I see if I'm shown like 100 pictures of someone wearing a red hat, I click and draw a box around the red hat and I label it red hat. And you can do the same thing for like lines of code, like this piece of code does X, Y, and Z, and so on and so forth. So like all AI models need data labeling. It's a very important part of the like AI economy. But it's a difficult business to scale. And the founder of this project understands there's a couple projects that are doing this, but without giving away what the project is, the founder is the main reason why I think everybody, like why I'm very confident in this project personally, and why I think a lot of other, you know, tier 1 VCs are very confident in this project as well. But this guy understands the challenges with scaling and like the operation side of data labeling very, very intimately. And basically he's creating a way for, rather than, you know, human labeling is something that requires like a very heavy onboarding process. It requires like very strict management. But with this product, you're going to be able to use to like label data from your phone. Like if you're sitting at a bus stop or like waiting for your plane, you can label data like wherever, right? You know, or do it from home. Like you don't need a manager looking over your shoulder. It creates a much more decentralized model that grossly increases the supply of potential data labelers. And also because it's crypto, creates has a much easier way to distribute the rewards of data labeling. So not only is it more scalable, it's also more efficient in multiple ways. like, it's easier to make payments to these third world countries where most of these data labelers are going to come from. And also they can accomplish like the exact same service as someone like Scale AI for significantly cheaper. So it is using blockchain to solve an actual problem rather than doing something on the blockchain for the sake of doing something on the blockchain, which I really like.
It's basically unheard of to do something like in the real world. No, I'm joking, Jack. But I think it is compelling whenever you put it like that, really. And I want to ask, like someone like Didi, like, do any of these kind of potential projects that might be linked to the Alpha Fund, does that excite you? If you had a slice of the Alpha Fund, I don't know if you do or not. If you don't, you should hurry up.
Yeah, of course, I will have a side of the Alpha Fund, but this is also a stream that is exactly explaining why I believe in Commonwealth and the Alpha Fund. This is exactly why I started to believe from the beginning, because I believe that there's a lot of people watching us now over here, and they don't get shit about what we are saying. They don't understand anything about this. I am also a very lazy investor. I'm busy with YouTube, and I'm busy with the family. I'm traveling. I'm making documentaries. So for me to take time to look so deep in these projects, it's like impossible. I just don't have that time, 24 hours. So this is exactly showing why Commonwealth, in my honest opinion, is a project that I want to support, because I want those bright minds that I just heard speaking here to put those projects in this fund that I can just invest in. I don't want to do all that due diligence, all that research myself. I'm a very lazy investor if it comes to that. I will call Kyle and Coach and like, hey, what's playing, And now I can then use this new project. So for me, yeah, of course, I this week I did 17 investments in 17 different projects. I couldn't name one name of them. I'm just okay. Let's try it, and that's this, and real world assets, and some AI, and let's do chat AI, and let's do this. I just throw the money at it because I think they will all do well in the bull market. But this whole stream is showing exactly the power of Commonwealth, these alpha funds, for all the people that are like me. This is simplifying the investment in a very profitable way, probably. And that's why, I couldn't name, just like Gold Swap, this swap, that swap. I'm investing in so many projects at the moment. So I'm just looking forward that this is up and running full time and just only need to invest in these alpha funds in Commonwealth and just enjoy all the profits. Together with all the other people that will invest this way. This is the future. There's too many
Nice one.
people that are too busy with doing other stuff, and they need this.
Nice one, Didi. And for people who aren't like as busy as you, if they do want to like deep dive into the projects, it's all there in the app as well. So you can be like a superficial kind of person, not person, I didn't mean that. I meant superficial user, or you can be someone who also really, really likes, kind of diving deep and getting into the weeds and learning and educating. And that's all part of the like how Commonwealth works as well. But I love what you said there. So thanks a lot for that. I didn't mean superficial person. I know I'm going to get.
I am a very superficial person. I was the one opening the conversation about my bedroom. That's more superficial than that you can't get. So, but if I see the projects, I will do my deep dive, and I will go for it. But it saves me, but it will save a lot of people in the future so much time that deep dive is already being done and that the fund is being created about these amazing projects. That investors like me that have the money that can just trust all those people that did their due diligence, because who wouldn't trust Kyle or who wouldn't trust Coach over there? They have been in this business. They are OGs since like 2012, 13, 2009. They know what they are talking about. I'm more known as the Bitcoin hodl guy that knows exactly when to sell my Bitcoins in a cycle and buy them back. And now I'm becoming part of Commonwealth.
That's a great skill. That's a great skill. And
Kyle,
what about?
I just wanted to add one thing. I don't think the guys behind the scenes at Commonwealth get enough recognition. But what they've done here with this Alpha Fund in such a short period of time, Ian and Tim as well, but mainly Tony and his team. If you're listening, Tony, thanks, man. What you've done is incredible. Everything's been seamless. It works well. You can buy a piece of the fund and it says, well done, you're in the fund. So it's all been very seamless. And it's just so impressive to see this whole thing, come alive and work properly. And I just don't think you guys get enough recognition behind the scenes. So thanks for making it happen and making everything run so smooth.
I'll say on behalf of Tony and the team as well, yeah, and all the coders and the developers and stuff, yeah. Thanks a lot for that, John. Kyle, what about you? Let's hear about some of the things that you're very excited about and potentially that you might be able to link to the Alpha Fund. You're on mute.
Said, I don't know, but I was curious about this Obasa guy here in the comments who keeps saying that I scammed him. I have a feeling, bro, that you sent money to a fake Instagram account or something. I definitely you feel free to DM me if you have any. But anyway, so he was just blowing up the entire comments saying I was scamming him. Bring him on stage if you want.
Oh, we can't. It's not a Twitter Spaces. It's not the same. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so what was the question?
Yeah, like for the Alpha Fund, what are you excited about in terms of projects that you think are potentially a good fit?
So I've just been getting, like I said, I've been getting a lot of some of them that I can't mention yet because I would get in a bit of trouble before they're finalized.
Those are the best ones. You can just talk around them like Jack did. I think that's the one I want to invest in the most because he couldn't tell me the name.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had this very long relationship for a very long time where we were one of the biggest and first investors in the project, and it's become incredibly popular. Where I mean, without them even really marketing their launch yet. So so that would be one that I'm pretty sure, and then like I'm going to be working with a lot of the people who bring me the KOL deals, and because that's what I would like to see. So a lot of the deals that we've invested in have been seed round, which not all of them actually. So from our fund, from MV Capital, we were the last year or so we were much more conscious about vesting schedules and cliffs, and so you see some of them in the free funds, and maybe I don't know if it makes sense to additional allocation for them in this one or not, but some of them I'm extremely bullish on. But there's I really can't talk about any of them because none of them are finalized yet, and so we're still working on terms and things like that. But I mean, I can tell you that, like I said before, I've been very, very surprised with the kind of deal opportunities I'm getting so late into the stage of development as a KOL, and these are what I particularly want to bring, especially to this Alpha Fund, because I want to. These typically, like KOL deals, typically have much larger vests at TGE and kind of accelerated vesting schedules as well, and so yeah, my objective is to find really good projects where we have good upside and bring that opportunity, because I think that Commonwealth will be the most powerful KOL that one could have on the cap table.
KOL and capital. You can't get more if you are a founder. Listen, guys, I'm conscious of time. I just wanted to kind of spell out a little bit of housekeeping, so how the fund will work from here. Even though Kyle is not mentioning the names of some of the projects that he in Master Ventures is finalizing deals with, and that makes sense. John mentioned some names, and Jack did as well, because those are deals that are finalized with their own investment companies, and they're fully supportive and partnered already. When the partnerships are confirmed from Kyle's side, even in parallel, I can tell you transparently, he is making links already to Commonwealth and trying to nurture those relationships on behalf of Commonwealth, so that when he does finalize an investment from his VC side, he can do that kind of referral to the Alpha Fund, and that's a prerequisite. Not everyone knows that exactly. But an Oracle has to have invested into one of the into a project in order for it to go into the Alpha Fund, even to be looked at by the Alpha Fund co-investors. So it just stops any kind of nefarious activity or any kind of conflict of interests. It's a first filter of due diligence that's already being done by these professional investors in their own sort of day-to-day business, right? So it's very important that people know that. Those links are made, and then you, as the co-investors in the Alpha Fund, will get a notification saying, hey, for example, if let's use Today the Game as an example. Today the Game has been proposed for the Alpha Fund, and there's 2 weeks now to look into it. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, or whenever the clock is up, there's a decision made on Today the Game, for example. If it's positive, then the protocol does its thing and it invests into that project, and then over time that investment matures. There's allocation vested to the protocol. The protocol then swaps that allocation into stables over time, not hurting the project, of course. It's all algorithmically executed. And then the co-investors who own the slices of the Alpha Fund, they get passive yield, passive returns into their wallet permissionlessly. That's more or less the full kind of functionality of the fund. I just wanted to spell that out again because, not everyone knows how a fund works. Certainly not everyone knows how Commonwealth works because it's new, it's novel, it's extremely innovative. If you are somebody who has some time on your hands, download the 50-page white paper or click on the Commonwealth website and just read through the bits that interest you. Not everything's going to jump out at you, but there's a lot in there to get a deeper understanding of how Commonwealth system and the protocol operates. It is really important. Or the website also gives you like a couple of like really easy like highlights. There's like 3 pages on the website which is new and refreshed that you can have a look at.
So,
guys,
just a quick question.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's $1 million fund. Is there a minimum or maximum check size into any given project?
That's going to be a case-by-case basis. Like Kyle said at the outset, this is like a proof of concept fund. It's really about the whole system learning from the experience, right? So co-investors, the people behind the project, the co-founders, the devs, everybody's going to have to fine-tune everything through this experience. That's why it's kind of quite a small fund, generally speaking, $1 million. But so no, generally speaking, it's going to be open to each case, right? Those of you who are here who do regular investing will know that sometimes you don't get to control what the amount is that you invest into. Some projects will say we only have 20 or we only have 50. That's the maximum. Other projects might be fine with 100,000, but it won't be that the whole $1 million will be deployed into one project. That's absolutely certain. I think it'll probably average out at around 10 to 15 investments potentially over the 1 million. That's the way I would see it panning out, but it's going to be somewhat organic and case by case, and it's up to the community obviously to assess every single project on its merits and take a decision. But yeah, the protocol is designed in a way to make that very simple. Don't worry.
Did you let them? I don't know if you said, Tim, already that the LPs of the funds are the ones like we can only propose a project for investment, but we can't actually make that investment decision on the LP's behalf. So so it's ultimately those, everyone who's...
I'm saying co-investors, you're saying LPs, like limited partners, but that's kind of fund talk. So yeah, co-investors just to make it easy. But yeah, exactly. The people who own the slices are essentially the ones who take the investment decision, yeah.
And Tim, when will these slices be tradable? Are they tradable right now?
You know the answer to that. Yes, they are. So one of the great innovations with Commonwealth, of course, is that each slice that you own, like your digital representation of your ownership of the portion of the Alpha Fund, is transferable, tradable. It's actually even fractionalizable, so you can split it up into smaller pieces. And then, you can go onto a secondary marketplace like Rarible, for example, and you can put that up for sale. And the market decides, if what value that gets traded at. The free fund, which is now called the priceless fund, those are trading on the secondary market, for example, right now. So yeah, if you didn't manage to get into the Alpha Fund, because I don't think there's much left right now, $7,500 out of $1 million, so that'll probably be gone very soon. Don't worry if you missed out. You can, pick up a slice on the secondary market, or you can wait for the next fund to come onto Commonwealth. There will also be a evergreen fund coming very soon, which is basically a way to get access to all of the funds in Commonwealth. You just plug some money into the evergreen fund, and then that gives you kind of like across the board access to all of the funds in Commonwealth. That's coming soon as well, as soon as the devs can catch their breath.
Yeah, one thing I want to say that those of us who have been through a cycle or two, everyone wishes that they would have been able to sell the top, or that a lot of people did these round trips, meaning that went from down to rich to poor again, holding the bag the whole way up and the whole way down. I think that when people this run are going to be looking and where to take profits into, what are your options, right? You've got like fiat, which is going through some sort of, US dollars debased 25% in the past 4 years. It's it's one of the more sturdy things, but that's not very sturdy anyway. And then you have gold and Bitcoin, really, but then Bitcoin may or may not correct pretty massively. I think that an interesting thing is that in my mind, an objective for us as a community, Commonwealth, would be to try to get the size of these funds up throughout the bull market, and then hopefully, kind of at the peak froth, we open up this kind of at the time we probably won't call it a distressed asset because everyone will be so bullish on the market and we'll think it's going to go forever. But if we can get, if you can take profits out at top of Bitcoin, let's say it peaks at 200K or whatever, and you're selling some of your alts at pumped like crazy and whatever, you're taking profits and you put them into a fund that Commonwealth has, and then that kind of secures your position there, and then the market gets come crashing down, and now you have your capital in a place where this is the best time to invest as a VC, or anyone who has access to deal flow is in a bear market, because you're going to have projects that their valuations come back down, like to very reasonable valuations, and terms are generally more favorable, and they'll be building throughout the bear market, meaning that they'll be ready to ship their product at the beginning of the next bull run. So, whereas a lot of people aren't prepared in a bear market, they just, they don't have enough money or capital to deploy, so they sit there on the sideline for 3 years until the market picks back up again. To me, this is, I think, a really cool opportunity, because like A16Z, the second that the bear market came this last time, they raised, I think it was like, what was it, 4 billion or something for a distressed asset fund. And then all they had to do was go buy Bitcoin and ETH and Sol at the bottom or something and sit on it, right? And just ride that all the way up, and their LPs would be super happy. But I'm sure they did a lot more with it, like buy technology and buy into rounds and things like that. But and save companies that were didn't prepare properly. But this is what I imagine that Commonwealth ends up doing, is becoming like just a massive global fund, with a lot of power.
All Street. Carl, you have Ivan on tech. He's jumped in the chat and he's asking, when are we going to pump like crazy? You have an answer for him?
Yeah, I hope that it's remixed in the next song that comes out from Ivan's community. Pumpamentals and fundamentals.
Didi, what did you say?
No, you're just waiting for pumping always. It could only be his question.
respect the pump. Guys, any final thoughts before we close off? I think we've covered off quite a bit today. And I just want to also say thank you to everybody who's in the chat as well. We will be going through the chat and giving some kind of prize. Sorry for being kind of half-assed about this. It wasn't planned super properly, but there will be a prize for the best comment, and I guess it's not going to go to that person who keeps trolling Kyle, but everyone else is in the running for a cool prize from today's session. Jack, you look like you're going to get some sleep there, man, but is there anything you guys want to add before we close off around the Alpha Fund, or how you see the market for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think that a narrative that I don't think anyone talked about, unless I was a few minutes late and missed it. I think the Runes narrative, the RGB narrative, I think that's a very, very strong narrative that's coming on. I know personally 4 or 5 people that left crypto completely in 2018 and came back for Runes, building, they said this was the vision that everyone kept blocking, using Bitcoin for more than just store value. So I think that's a really big thing when you're hearing OGs that made, freaking 9-10 figures, some of them left crypto completely, and now they're coming back. Some of them are building projects. And I think that could be a huge narrative that people should be focusing on. We know that there's a lot of other chains and all this stuff, and everyone's built an L1 and L2, but the most secure chain is Bitcoin. And so I think there's a really good opportunity here. And I think the market crashed pretty hard, pretty fast. Last cycle, I think it was I think the biggest dump on BTC from peak to a trough was like 25% dump or 27%. We almost had that already this cycle. So, I think there's definitely been a lot of liquidations the last couple of days, I think, and they're getting rid of that over leveraged positions that everyone keeps getting in. So I think that there's definitely an upside here, and it's DCA time, even if it goes lower. How much lower can it go? And if you truly believe that the bull market's going to come and the supply crunch will come again once the big whales and the actual institutions start buying Bitcoin, which they haven't really bought yet, I think that's coming soon. They just want a better buying price, to be honest, if you're trying to think about it from their perspective.
Coach, for those who don't know what the runes, sorry, who was going to speak?
This will kind of explain it and then also give Coach a chance to answer back that question. So I'm interested in runes from a couple perspectives. One of them is making money, because I think that there's just this crazy, like we talked about the BRC20 and ordinals run, like there was nothing of substance there. I mean, people may hate me for saying that, but like it's even Casey himself who invented the protocol says it's just a shitcoin casino on Bitcoin. But what is interesting though is how he titles them as digital artifacts, and I think that so you can't do smart contracts, at least not yet, not that we know of on layer 1, but you can make fungible and non-fungible tokens on Bitcoin now. So, and the difference is that I think pretty much every other blockchain, the image itself or whatever the NFT represents is stored on a third-party server somewhere, and that like all you're doing is pointing to a third-party server where the image isn't actually there, stored on chain. And so with runes, you actually have a way to permanently, immutably, always and forever mint an artifact onto the blockchain as long as the internet exists. And I think that I'm interested to find, like, Coach, have you heard anyone that's actually building something interesting on runes, or just like like the next Rune Pepe or something like this?
Well, I mean, it's got to start somewhere. I think memes are obviously a big thing right now. They're almost their own asset class. I could say that I had a lot of conversations in Dubai about this during 2049. Like, almost like it's something that's different, and it's very real, very very much here to stay. Like, I'm working with DeFi Gold. I've been helping them. Like, I haven't worked with the team this closely for probably, I don't know, since Eternity last cycle, or Cornucopias, which we both worked on. And I just really like the team. They're all OGs. They're people that, like, really, if their names out there, they're doxed. They're building, like, all in one platform. So, like, you can use ordinals, you can use runes, you can RGBs. You'll be able to swap. You'll be able to do LBPs on there. You'll be able to launch tokens. So it's definitely like the stepping stone in the right place. Also, all the wallets will connect. Whereas, like, some of the sites right now, like some of the stuff we're next is trying to make everything in one place. I really like the concept of that. And the team, they're all OGs. The guys are all worth like 8-9 figures plus as the team members. I really like that because their reputation matters. And their team is like, they run their own firms in New York, and they're in California, and they're out in Toronto and BC. So I really like that because you don't really see that a lot with runes. A lot of the time it's just like some random team from China, like pump and dump type Mendels, which is, when you're talking about making money, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of money because Chinese love the runes, the ordinals. They love the BRC ecosystem, and anything that's on Bitcoin, basically. So I think there's definitely going to be a money opportunity there. But, runes lets us use, and it will make it feel like Bitcoin can be a similar feel to Ether or Solana, where you can just, like, easily do things on it. So I think that's, like, the big innovation now. And obviously Casey's the one who also built runes as well, kind of as the stepping stone to making tokens instead of basically images being used as tokens, which kind of makes it really convoluted and confusing, which is why I didn't like BRC20 for this cycle. I thought it wouldn't be the thing, but Runes kind of does what we would want from Ethereum on Bitcoin. So I like that. It's not, obviously there's not deep smart contracts and all that stuff, but I think that's the stepping stone to having that. And I think that's really exciting for this cycle. Like, I think it's definitely going to be a narrative that we're going to have probably in the next 6 months. Like,
I think there's $1 left. $1 left.
I like what Tony did here. I don't know if anyone saw. He's made it like 999.999, and it's kind of for the 99.999%. So it's pretty cool. But I don't think it can sell out technically because the minimum investment is $20. So it's pretty cool that it'll just stay like that, like the 990.
The fund is full live on the show, so that's probably quite a cool way to end the show, guys. I do want to say that not every fund needs to fill up fast. That's not necessarily the objective. Like if Commonwealth tomorrow, not tomorrow, but like in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month has a $10 million fund, the objective isn't that it has to sell out like super quick, because a fund can still deploy the capital that's there. It doesn't need it in order to be active, but it is still pretty cool that even if the market is doing what it's doing, All Street is firmly behind the Alpha Fund, and now it's time for us to get to work. You guys are the Alpha in a lot of ways, and I'm going to be putting you guys to work, and the community is going to be putting us all to work. So it's time to do that. Any last words?
Yeah, Coach, I was loving what you were just talking about with those runes, man. I know nothing about them, so it'd be cool maybe like if you went into Kyle's show or did your own show or whatever, and just so we can learn more about it. Like, I was loving what you were just saying. I don't know the first thing about this stuff.
Coach hates microphones and cameras, though. That's the problem. I'm just kidding, man. Kyle, you were going to say something?
Yeah, just wondering. So it'll be interesting to see who, like, now that it's sold out. So I kind of, in my mind, I kind of imagine the secondary market of these slices to be something along the lines of, like, in the future, let's say that this first alpha fund returns, let's say it does a 10, 20, 30x or something like that, right? Or even tomorrow, one of the oracles brings forward a sick deal. Like, let's say we get some seed round in ZK Sync or whatever, right? Just like something that is going to pop like crazy. All of a sudden, like, you might have more people who are looking to get their initial investment back. So they might fractionalize their $1,000 investment into 10 $100 pieces or whatever. But where can people look for these slices at the moment? Because I think OpenSea banned us, right?
They're unrareable, Kyle, but it's very important.
OpenSea.
They're unrareable, but it's very important that people understand what they're buying. So, like, a guy might think that he's buying $1,000 slice, but the guy might have fractionalized it into 20 pieces, and he's like, you always, in every community, you're going to find like chances, and they try and rip off the community, and they're like, you think you're buying $1,000 slice, but you're buying a $50 slice. I actually did it the other day. Like, I went and bought some of those free fund slices. I thought a guy was like just cheating them, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go buy all of them. And I went and bought, like, some guy fractionalized his $1,000 ticket into like 20 pieces. So I was paying like $500-$600 for like a $50 ticket. So, I mean, I learned the hard way, but
it's a good lesson learned there, John, and I think it's great that the community does look into that. Listen, none of the secondary marketplaces are actually like that well catered for like assets with or NFTs with kind of that type of utility, the type of utility we're talking about. One of the great things that Commonwealth is doing is bringing its own marketplace to market. So you'll be able to trade these NFTs, the slices, inside the app, and also Commonwealth will be providing that marketplace for other projects to come and use as well as an alternative to Rarible or any of the other marketplaces that are out there. Just because this particular issue is there, like John said, it's not that easy to look at the metadata, or it's not displayed in a way that's completely like user friendly. So Commonwealth is solving that, but be careful for sure.
Harry's saying he's saying look under properties in the comments over here, because that's a good good to point out. I wouldn't have known where to look either. So
yeah, Tony's busy sorting that out at the moment. Something very cool, so people understand. I think it's also very, very important. Like we've got like 5,000 listeners here, guys. Like I went through the 2021 NFT run and like just aped into everything. I think it's very important to like understand what we're doing at Commonwealth. Go learn about the projects we're investing into. Don't just go and like buy an NFT 10x higher because you think you've missed out. There'll be plenty of opportunities at Commonwealth. Look for good value. If you really like some of the projects we're investing into, go pay 2 or 3x or whatever if you really want to, but don't go pay stupid prices. We don't want people to lose money. We want everyone to try and benefit from this project.
100%. Harry's one of the mods, and he's great. And he has, the whole team of mods is actually, it's pure decentralization. They're not like paid staff from Commonwealth. This is like the community supporting the community, which is one of the things I love about Commonwealth, is that it's real kind of like decentralized ethos in practice. But these guys are great. They're nearly all the time answering questions, supporting each other. So yeah, bear in mind that they're not there to take abuse from anybody, but they are super helpful and knowledgeable as well. So yeah, if in doubt, go and check with the team and the community. Cool, guys. I think we'll end it up here. All I'm going to say is thanks for this session. It was alpha rich. There was a lot of good tips from Coach. Didi gave us some insight that I'm going to have to try to erase from my brain later on. No, I'm joking. I'll never forget that view, Didi. Nothing can spoil that. Jack, thanks for the insight on those projects, especially the one with regards to the AI and the real world application. I think that's phenomenal. And John, today the game stood out for me as something very interesting. I hope, and this will be the litmus test, is whether or not the system is able to bring home like amazing value proposition early stage projects into this fund. I've got no doubt that it will be successful, but the proof is in the pudding. So let us get to work, and we'll see you guys at the next event. Thanks everybody.
Peace.
bye everyone. Thank you.